Hi, this is Hiroki Matsuda, and I talk about our UNESCO Chair program on education in biosphere reserves for sustainable societies from this year. What is UNESCO Chair? It's over 850 institutions in more than 100 countries, promotes international inter-university cooperation and networking to enhance institutional capacities through knowledge sharing and collaborative work. And the network and chairs serve as think tanks and bridge builders between academia, civil society, local communities, research and policy making. And this is also contribute to the strengthening the North-South-South cooperation in UNESCO. And our UNESCO Chair program is the purpose of our program is promote integrated systems of research, training, and information and documentation, and connected with other institutions in Japan as well as elsewhere in the Asia and Pacific region and other regions, and provide sound basis for the management of biosphere reserves and the achievement of the SDGs. And according to the agreement, they investigate the mutually benefiting relationship between the biosphere reserves and interconnected urban areas. Therefore, our logo is this is a mountain and this marine and the city. Yokohama is near the sea marine, and provide the teaching materials and establish the minor education program for the MAB and SDGs, and develop the international project-based learning. It's called PBL. Training course for MAB and SDGs as a pilot education program, and develop a network of learning sites within the Japanese Biosphere Reserves network and others, and cooperate closely with UNESCO and UNESCO chairs. Therefore, our mission, according to our UNESCO chair program proposal, and educational materials provide, and education minor program, and ESD guidebook for teachers using biosphere reserves, and we established this in the 2015. We revised this and make an English version, and build a network to the Japanese Biosphere Reserve Network and partner universities. And therefore, we started a new lecture of MAB and SDGs like this, and 16 weeks. And Miguel Krishnagot, this year, he made many English materials. History of UNESCO and history of MAB, and also a student video presentation. We propose 3 times of each student. Presentation on biosphere reserve and other protected areas, and comments and discussion on the students' presentations. And we make a lecture of good practice of SDGs in biosphere reserves. It's this very famous English materials by UNESCO. And branding and other usage of biosphere reserve, and another student presentation, and payment for ecosystem services. This PES is very important keyword of our UNESCO chair program, because the relationship between the biosphere reserves and urbans, and also ESDs. And Miguel also provided the blue carbon ecosystems and so on. What is MAB? And this, according to the past Director General of UNESCO, Bokova-san, she said, World Heritage helps to preserve values, but biosphere reserves are helping to create them. Therefore, this is more fit to the Sustainable Development Goals, I think. And what is the biosphere reserves is 3 functions: in the conservation area, and learning site, and also is development, local development, and research and monitoring sites. And Japan has 10 biosphere reserves. and Miguel-san, yes, visited many areas this year. And keyword is payment for ecosystem services. Yes, and payment for ecosystem services is expected to enhance participatory management of forest and natural resources, serve as an alternative to the typical state control over natural resources. And not only the mountains, but also some blue carbon. Yes. And the one example is Kanagawa Prefecture. This prefecture's tax for ecosystem services of preserved forest. And this is calculated some tax rate, and also this is 20 years characterized by the purpose-specific tax and the sunset clause. That means time limited. And the limit is near approaching now. And do you know this very famous caricature, wildlife preserve? But this is not the goal of our nature conservation. Man and the program. Man and the bicycle program is a very similar idea. Not the preserve the wildlife in the bottle, but the wildlife will live in the open space, including people. This is the Man and the bicycle program. Therefore, I usually say values of nature are enriched when we recognize that we are embedded in the nature. And it is a fault to consider ourselves to be external to nature. This is written in the Dasgupta report in the 2021. And I also wrote, people and bears can coexist in fear of each other, not a friend. In this book, in 2021, and people and wildlife utilize each other. That means people utilize wildlife, but also wildlife often utilize the people. For example, agriculture products and so on. Therefore, some people and wildlife conflict exists. Therefore, we are not friends, but coexist in fear of each other. And the ethics in the financial assistance is if financial assistance to developing countries by developed countries for environmental mitigation is not a means to strengthen their political influence, not a kind of Catholic indulgences, but a part of their responsibility to conserve the global environment. Therefore, if more environment-friendly way, we developed countries willingly support the developing countries, because this measure is sometimes costly. It is far more efficient than for developed countries to invest in developing countries than to invest their own degraded environments in the developed countries, I think. Why environmentally friendly financial support? Receiving financial support from developed countries is not just about the economic development. It is a means to protect the environment and ensure sustainable development for future generations. It is important that this support builds trust between the developed and developing countries through capacity building and technology transfer. I usually say the tragedy of the commons. This is a very big keyword in the environmental issues. Mitigation measures works globally, but adaptation measures works locally. Therefore, it is optimal for nation if it focuses on the adaptation measures and the other nations focus on the mitigation. Every country considers that. Therefore, the tragedy of the commons happens in the climate change issues. Commons should be divided into the private property, but the greenhouse gas is definitely impossible. And forcing global policy in the international legally binding instrument. This is a typical example is the Kyoto Protocol. It's a numerical goal in each member state. But the this is very difficult in the between the developed and the developing countries. Therefore, now the co-management. This is a bottom-up approach. This one good idea is nationally determined contributions. Yes, and therefore, many countries, this green is and yellow, this is nationally determined contributions refer to the blue carbon in mitigation measures and adaptation measures, not Japan, unfortunately. And why is extensive aquaculture and enclosed distance? This is our one of our research activities in the Mekong Delta. And this some shrimp production exists in the Nisei company, in Japanese seafood company. But this is not eco-labeling because this is now eco-labeling is recommends artificial pond and fed aquaculture, but in this is uses wild stocks, but this is probably environment friendly. But this is not eco-labeling. Therefore, this is no global standard. In this case, we should revise the global standard, I think. And our good, very big partner is the Port City University League of this one. And this is therefore our minor programs in of our MAB SDGs is core lecture in the MAB and many other lectures related to the SDGs, and overseas internship is very important. And therefore, our activities, MAB activities is one of the very big important and project-based learning in the overseas training course. And also ESD in the ASP.NET schools in the elementary schools. This is affiliated in our universities. Like this. Thank you very much for listening.